Hey, can everybody see my screen? Give me a yes, give me a holler, give me a thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'm like, please let me know. I'll go ahead and open this for you so that way also you can see what the application manual looks like. So if you have any questions, we can kind of slow down. So you're going to have the manual. If you're new to Bonfire Una and you have not registered, you will follow this first section of this application of this manual. It's going to give you bonfire registration is going to be divided into a few different sections. 3 sections is going to be the bonfire registration for applicants, the application login and information, and then how to complete your submission. The 4th part is a checklist for your application downloads or uploads to help you out. You can always refer to our webpage that's linked here. So if you can look for the manual, any PowerPoint presentations or any recordings. And then of course, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and get a hold of me. I'm not sure why my information is there twice, but you can get a hold of me twice. Do we have anybody who hasn't registered with Bonfire before? If I could just get a raise of hands. That's going to be that little emoji up at the top that says raise. Okay, I'm not seeing, okay, I have one person. So Diane, you're going to follow this first step for the bonfire registrations for applicants, and then we'll proceed through. The process does follow step by step. So when you download this manual, go ahead and refer back to this section and it will lead you through each one of the steps, I promise. For those that have completed, we're going to cover the most important portion, which is you logging into Bonfire and then establishing which applications you're going to apply for. So you're going to have this screen, you're going to enter your email address and then the known password that you have for this. On your dashboard, you're going to go to portal and then you're going to look at your opportunities. Don't mind me, my portal is very different and has a lot more for you. Now, if you go to it right now, it's not going to show you anything because obviously these are closed. But if you open up yours right now, there's a practice application that I've submitted or that I've opened for you guys to just practice. Okay, so I think it'd be really great for you guys to try and practice. This will close when the application opens because I don't want to confuse anybody, but this one is open right now for you guys to practice on. But if we were to look at any of the opportunities, you would see these are, a listing of these. But you'll go to open public opportunities and you'll be able to see the application for planning and design, new construction, renovation, code compliance and new addition, vehicles and equipment, and meals equipment and other equipment. So there's 5 different application types. What we're going to review today is going to be the first one is going to be planning and design. I already have these ready to go for you guys. Now we just need to open them up. So we're going to review as I'm going to look at it on the portal as if. I'm not sure if we're going to see if it's going to let me open that. It may not, we'll see. If so, I'll go to this other one. The difference between the test application is one additional document for planning or for new construction and renovation. And that's going to be uploading your schematics or your blueprints to show that you've completed planning and design. Last year during the legislative session, DFA requested that we do a few things. One, as you guys have heard in the media, there's a lot of capital outlay funding that has not been utilized, and it's across all divisions, not just one specific. So last year they really pushed for us to have our projects in phases because we don't want to set any one of our grantees up for failure. The thought process with that is if you're going to do planning and design first, that could take 2 years, right? And then you could then apply for new construction, or you could do the renovations. And so they want to phase out our projects as it pertains to any type of construction. if you have a renovation and you're going to renovate your bathrooms and it's not anything that's going to need planning and design, you can just upload a document that's going to say renovating bathrooms, no additional planning and design necessary. But let's say you're going to increase the size of your kitchen and you want funding for that. If you would first apply for planning and design for that. And then the next year or the same year, you could then apply for new construction, identifying what's gonna happen. If you are going to apply for renovation, code compliance, and new addition, and you don't upload a document that's for your schematics or your blueprints or showing that you already have planning, we're going to stop you and ask some questions before you can move forward to apply for those. And again, this is just coming from a legislative finance committee for us to try and make sure we're setting you guys up for success. We understand that it's very difficult for you to get funding, $4 million in funding to plan, design, equip. That's not a lot of time to be able to complete that. And we don't have the ability to reauthorize a lot of these projects. So we don't want any funds reverting. So that's why you're seeing the 5 different application types. Now, when we look at the planning and design, this may look similar to some of you from last year. This just gives you the project details. This is going to list the application type. Don't worry about the reference. It's just more information for us. This is coming from Capital Outlay Bureau. It's giving you the open date. It's going to give you the close date. It gives you my information if you need to get a hold of me. Days left isn't listed on here because we haven't opened it yet because it's not November 3rd. Can you believe it's only a couple weeks away? Here will be a project description of what information you're going to need to upload, and then it's going to give you just events. So post date for the opportunities, November 3rd, deadline for submissions as at 12 a.m. February 4th, okay? There's supporting documentation, so if you can't remember to download the manual, you can go and download it from here. Last year, you guys are going to be familiar that we requested certain information. This year, we've expanded that to include all of the fiscal information. So the name, the title, the email, and the address are all going to be required. Actually, all of the information is required, but this is going to stay the same. This is going to be unique per alternate. And what that means is the facility name, let's say it's going to be for Albuquerque's Highland Senior Center. And then they're going to apply again for planning and design for the Varela Senior Center. So you can change the name and it's going to be unique per that alternate. So that's what that means under each one of these requirements. You'll see that we've, instead of having you complete an Excel spreadsheet or a question set with this information, you're now going to complete it here. So we're hoping that this eases some of that duplication. Again, a lot of this information for the facility is going to be unique to that specific facility. So please take your time when you're completing these applications, that if you're filling it out for one senior center, that you're following all of those steps, and make sure not to get confused with other senior centers if you're applying for multiple senior centers. That was one of our biggest things last year, is we had multiple senior centers with information from the other ones crossed over. So just make sure to take your time and slow down. These are going to be the required documents that you're going to have to complete. Each one is going to be specific for the application. This one, you're going to have to complete a question set. You're going to download this. This is going to be an Excel spreadsheet. Then you're going to need to upload your certifying letter. You're going to need to upload the ICIP, the budget identifying ongoing maintenance or deferred maintenance, and then applicable quotes, cost estimates for application type. I do have to state that these have to come from a viable entity. Please do not handwrite what you think the estimates are going to be. We will not accept those. Those need to come from a contractor, a business, somebody that's going to be able to provide these estimates and our quotes. Then you'll see that there'll be any public notices. If you have a question and you want, and it might be that everybody has the same question, you can create a new public notice and you can view that, or you can also see if there's a question in the vendor discussion between those. And then once we get to this next section, I'm going to show you how to submit. Any questions so far? No? Okay. I'm going to move forward then. So I'm going to go ahead and open this application just so we can, I can show you what it's going to look like. So you're able to submit for applications up to 20 senior centers. David, how many senior centers does Rio Arriba have? 15? 9? 9? Okay. I think City of Albuquerque has the most, so you will not run out of application opportunities as you're looking at this. So as we go into planning and design, again, here's all of the information. We can download the application manual, and now we're going to want to go ahead and download the template for the questionnaire. Within the instruction manual, it's going to recommend that you save these in a specific place. I myself have created my own capital outlay training, so I have that available. And then I've listed in here Senior Center 1 and then Senior Center 2. And then within Senior Center 1, I have meals and equipment and vehicles equipment, so that way I can keep them separated. And then under Senior Center 2, I'm applying with them. I'm applying for 4 separate applications. So I'm trying to keep them all specific so that way I don't get confused when I'm submitting and uploading my information. So if we go into planning and design, we're going to see that before I complete this, or as I'm completing this, I'm going to go ahead and name that question set. We want you to use a specific naming convention just so it makes it easier to find when you're uploading your documents. So since we're completing planning and design, we want to make sure that's the first part. You're going to put the name of the senior center that you're applying for, and then you're going to list the county or the fiscal agent that's going to be responsible for that. So let's say if it was Rio Arriba, we would have planning and design question set, Coyote Center, and then we would have Rio Arriba County. Okay, then it would follow with all of this information. As we're going through, that's not going to be the right one. Let me go ahead and open the question set. When you're looking at these question sets, it's going to always ask you to enable editing. So after you enable editing, I always suggest you go in and you save as, and you enter that same information that I just went over. That'll be the best way for you to complete this. This is going to give you instructions. We don't develop these. Bonfire just kind of comes up with these. Then you're going to have your summary. This is going to tell you that there's 11 questions. We've also knocked down how many questions you have to answer, and that it'll tell you your completion rate, and it'll let you know if there's any errors. So as you come through, we're going to ask for each one of these for you to mention the facility name or to list the facility name. So if we're going to Senior Center 2, and you see on the right-hand side, it'll say that I completed the question. Now it doesn't verify that you've submitted the right information. It just knows that you submitted something. So it's really important for you to make sure you're entering the correct information. Here, you're going to want to enter a narrative. This is worth 50 points. This is the most amount of points on the entire process. You want to make sure that you're taking your time thinking about the narrative. We want to know about the amount of the funding request, what the project's goal is, and the enhanced result of what's going to happen by doing this, as well as explaining the need for the project. For example, citing a code compliance or other relevant issues, and describe how the funding will address or alleviate these issues. You want to outline any potential consequences if funding is not awarded, including the impact. We know that it's going to impact services, but what you're doing here for us is you're painting, you're developing a visual for us to imagine as us scorers. So it's really important that you spend a little bit of time to structure what this narrative is going to be when you're submitting this. For right now, I'm just going to be announced later. What key stages in your organization's capital outlay process? What are the key stages? So right now, we'd want to know that we have already reviewed with mayor and council. So we know that there's some steps that are going to be reviewed there. Are there measures for energy reduction or energy sustainability, such as all of these things? This is going to be a simple answer that you are going to pick a drop down. Unfortunately, because of the way it works, you're still going to have to type in this box. I haven't been able to figure out if you type yes, just go ahead and put the type of energy efficiency you're going to be able to implement. And then I have this here where it says no, explain. So we're just going to put see above. There are some quick little quirks that I am trying to work out, so hopefully these will get addressed. What planning and design challenges have been encountered and how have they been addressed? I have one senior center that had to move multiple locations due to nature. There was a new species identified in a certain area, and they've had to try and find a new location. Bug habitat. That really is happening on one of them. Please provide an overview of the budget addressing the following components. So we want to know how much is going to be for the architect, engineer. We want a breakdown is going to be 125,000, 35,000, 25,000. We want to know that the construction is going to cost 300,000. This is an estimation. If it's going to be renovation, code compliance, or anything else. We want to make sure that you guys are aware that for any of this, we do not pay for warranties or extended warranties. Okay, just want to make sure you guys are familiar. Have you met with your elected officials? Yes. Met with council and a state representative. Why do we need to know this? It kind of helps us understand that you're going to have support when this bill gets dropped. Capital outlay bills are one of the last bills to drop during the legislative session. This legislative session is going to be a 30-day, so it's going to be really quick. Again, we won't know what the capital outlay bill is going to look like until the last days of the legislative session. So it's really important that once you submit your application, you let your leadership know so that way you can be talking to your state senators and your state representatives to push for this. Did you upload applicable quotes? I have those ready, so yes, ready to go. And then what is the timeline for completion? We're looking at 2 years, okay? So if you can see, we've got all green here, and if we go back to the summary, we're going to see that 100% has been completed and I have no errors. So then what we would do is save this document in with everything else that we're looking at and get ready to then get our certifying letter. This is going to be a letter that comes from your leadership that can be signed by the mayor or your commission or city manager that is certifying that they're aware that you're applying for this project and they're basically giving you their blessing. The ICIP is going to be the capital infrastructure planning tool, and that's going to identify your top 5. So you're planning for the next 5 years. And this is really important because a lot of capital outlay is about planning for the future. Carol, I know that you're waiting for his vehicles, so we're working through that process to make sure that you guys we're following your timelines. We don't take off points or don't score if meals and equipment and vehicles and equipment is not on the ICIP, but I strongly recommend that if you're applying for it, it should be listed on your ICIP. Sometimes if it's going to be something you didn't know and you didn't add it to your ICIP, as long as it's meals equipment and other equipment and sometimes vehicles, we let that slide, but it's really encouraged for you guys to add those to your ICIP. The budget, all this is going to be a screenshot for me to see that if DFA was to ask, I would be able to show them that you do have a line item within your budget for deferred maintenance. So whether it's going to be for building or for vehicles and equipment or anything else, we need to see that there's a line item there. Would it be nice to see some money attached to it with lots of zeros? Yes, but we understand that there might be just $500 in that line item for vehicles or $1,000 for, maintenance as it pertains to those buildings. And then this is the most important, I need to be able to see those applicable quotes or cost estimates specific to that application type. Well, this is planning and design. I don't know how much this is going to cost. You should have somebody, an architect who you're going to be working with to be able to give you what an estimate is going to cost for you to get the planning and design complete. So we should be able to have those. Any questions? Okay. If I proceed, when you come to the bottom, you're going to see prepare your submission. So right now it's going to show me as a vendor as ALTSD. So I'm going to prepare my submission. It's going to open into a new page and it's going to ask me for all of this information. So I have to enter it and then save it. Because right here, do you see all those red dots? Those mean stop. You haven't completed something. Once I've entered some information, it's going to go ahead and go to green. All of this information, unfortunately, is required. So as you go through, you want to make sure that you're going to complete these. I was supposed to have this pre-populated, but I completely forgot about that. So as you're going through and you're completing all of this information, we're going to have the contact name. We're going to have, and you can tab through all of these. 505, wait, 505 867 5309. How's that for you guys born in the 80s? Dead silence. We want to know who owns the facility. Is it going to be county? Is it owned by the city? Is it owned by Navajo Nation? So we need to know if it's going to be the ownership, because there might be some questions that come up when we're looking at applications. And that's where it goes to this next one. Is it managed by a nonprofit, and is there an agreement in place? So it's not managed by a nonprofit. And then we look at what sources of funding. No funding at this time. So if you've received federal grants or other capital outlay, we're going to want to know what you received in the last 5 years. So this, again, application just can't be thrown together. You do have to review the questions to make sure you have all that pertinent information. So we want, we've added a new roof. We're going to go ahead and add that that's been done. What is the square footage? It's 1,234 feet. Is it sufficient? Is it sufficient in size? Some of you are going to say yes, and others are going to say no, because it means that your facility is growing. The reason we want to know if it's relative in size is it helps us, again, kind of plan and be on the lookout if an additional funding ever becomes available, to let you guys know that you can maybe look at additional funding for a new addition. Here you would just give a, history. It was built in 2010, attracts 2 counties, offers meals and other services. Not all of our senior centers provide meals. So this gives us kind of also an idea of what services you're going to need that are going to file in line if the facility is sufficient in size. Roof replaced due to hail, otherwise satisfactory. How many seniors? We get 546 seniors on average. Because I know you guys have to maintain those records. Does the local government provide operating staff? Yes. So does that mean is staff provided by them? Now, if you see, we're going to come down to this next section and it says optional and it's yellow. If this was a no, then you would answer here, but you have to make sure to hit save. It won't just pop up. In kind. List all the different types of sourcing that you get. And yes, I know I left one that's red. I'm going to show you why it's important. Have you met with your fiscal agent to plan procurement if this project is approved? We want to make sure that you're communicating with leadership to let them know that you're applying for this project. There would be nothing worse that you've applied for $5 million for planning and design, and the fiscal agent that you work with is not prepared to encumber $5 million worth of those. So that's why we asked this question. Again, we have another optional. If we have a project manager, that's going to be for bigger municipalities. For most of us, it's going to be no, and it's going to be yourselves that are attending this. One person, many hats. Is staff prepared to comply with all reporting requirements? We don't have CPMS anymore, but we have capital outlay planning system caps that you still have to update quarterly reports. So that's what this is referring to. And then now we're at this set. So don't worry, I'm still familiar. I didn't click that other one. So I'm going to upload my documents. So I want to go to, let's see, I need to go here. I need to go to capital outlay training. No, not signed documents. We're going to go to Senior Center 2. We're going to look for planning and design. So right now we need to upload this, but I want to show you something. So if I go to planning and design, notice it just opened anything that was Excel, because this is specifically requesting that it has to be an Excel document. It won't allow you to upload a PDF or a Word document or anything else. So it's only going to request or open those documents that are going to be an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to upload that. That's because we have a new questionnaire, so I'll do that in just a moment. Then we're going to want to do the certifying letter. As you can see, I'm making sure that this is for planning and design for Senior Center 2. And then we're going to proceed to follow this information as we go to each one of these documents, uploading each one of these files. It's really good to try and get these beforehand so you're not rushing to get them all completed. So a lot of this application is planning and preparing for it. Now I'm going to have to go in and look for this question set so I can save it. So I'm going to save as. Don't look at how many documents I have. Okay. So we're going to go back to this. We're going to delete this file, and then we're going to try and upload another. Liked it. I got the green lights on all of my documents. So now I want to submit and finalize. So you have to click this, but why is this? Notice this red circle with a line through it. It's grayed out. It's not letting me do anything. So I need to go back through and figure out where it is. It's here. So it won't let you complete your application if you have any red dots. Okay. Now, if you scroll back down, got another one there. Now you see submit and finalize my submission. Once you submit, you will receive two different informations. You'll receive one as an email, and then you'll receive this document. This will be a new screen. It'll actually, I prefer that you guys download this page and print it or save it, because it provides all of your information that you answered. So this one is a bit better. The one in your email is, let me show you what it looks like. It's a little bit different, and it doesn't give you all of that information. It just has that you submitted your application, your name, your organization, and it gives you the documents that you submitted, the questions, and then the data. So it does provide that, but it's quite a bit of a longer email versus if you want to just print screen this part. You'll also see that you can download all of your files. You'll also see that you have a confirmation code. But you can also let's say you noticed you were checking through all your documents and you mislabeled one, you have to go in and resubmit your application. You're going to click this and it's going to take your application back out of finalize, and then you can amend your application. But what if I wanted to submit for another planning and design for another senior center? You would go to prepare alternate listing and see how automatically this popped up. Before it said ALTSD just by itself. Now you're saying ALTSD alternate one. That's going to be for those additional senior centers that you're going to apply for under planning and design or any one of the application types. So when you do that, you're going to prepare an additional submission, and then you're going to complete all of that relevant required documents for those, attach those relevant documents, question set, ICIP. Now the ICIP might be for all of them, but you might want to just copy and paste it each time. So that way it's listed as senior center 1, senior center 2, senior center 3, and so on. And then you're going to go ahead and submit this application type. Then it'll show you which projects you've actually completed yet so far. Any questions right now? I'm a little nervous that there's no questions. Okay. So what I want to go and take a look at is I want to show you the different application when it pertains to not planning and design for anything other than planning and design. So we're going to look at one for the renovation and new addition. I'm going to open this just so I could show you the changes that we have for that, because it's one additional document. So renovations, code compliance, new addition is going to be if you're going to add an HVAC system, if you need to replace your roof, if you need to replace stucco, if you need to replace electrical, flooring, reinforcing a wall, anything like that. That's going to be renovation, code compliance, and new addition. New addition will be if you want to expand your kitchen, or you want to make a parking area for your vehicles, a vehicle corral. That would fall under new addition. If you ever have questions, you have an idea what your project is, but you don't know which application to apply for, go ahead and reach out. We're more than happy to help you with that. So you're going to see the same information for project details. But what I want you to see, everything's going to be the same, but right here, you're going to see that you're now required to submit a planning and design, blueprints, schematics, or a master plan. You can submit it in a PDF file. Okay. So what we want to know is if you're requesting funding for renovation, code compliance, or new addition, that planning and design has been completed. If not, we need to have a justification. Some people have submitted a Word document that says these are going to be simple bathroom renovations of toilets, faucets, countertops. So there isn't any planning and design that's necessary. Others are, we're going to renovate a kitchen. Here are the attached, or we're going to expand the kitchen. Here are the schematics or the blueprints to show that we've completed the design and we can move to the next step. What if, though, you want to do new addition and planning and design at the same time? You can, but we just want to make sure that it's going to fall within that 4 years. Because remember, it takes a year generally for most funding sources to be available to you. So really, you have 3 years. So if you think you can get your planning and design completed in a year while getting new construction funding or new addition, then you can go ahead and apply for both at the same time. But we should probably have a conversation just to make sure you're gonna have enough time to be able to expend both of the funds from planning and design and from renovation, code compliance, new addition. So again, you're gonna look at the required documents are gonna be this, not quite sure why it's not up here, but it's gonna be this planning and design, blueprints, schematics, master plan. Then you're still gonna see that question set, the certifying letter, the ICIP, ongoing maintenance, and then your quotes and your estimates. Now, if you had multiple senior centers that you were going to apply for renovation, code compliance, or new addition, again, you would come in and you would apply. The first senior center would show up as your name, and then the other one will show up as an alternate 2. or alternate 1, and then you could continue to submit. If you're not familiar with how to submit the process, there's this great video here just to the right that'll walk you through the steps on how to upload and how to prepare your submission. It will not give you information to this specific application. It'll just give you general information on how to submit your application. Really quick, I want to stop for questions.
Okay,
It's this, yeah, go ahead.
I want a new addition, and you know I had applied for a pickleball court, but I want an indoor room for it. So would that be where I would do this, the new building addition?
Yes. So a new addition, because if it's going to, so a new construction is going to be, it's an absolute new construction for a new building, for a new senior center. That's going to be what new construction is for. If there's already a site, then you're going to, and you're adding to it, then it would fall under new addition.
Okay, so like I'm just adding to my building, it's new addition.
No, it would be, yes, it would be the new addition under the renovation code compliance new addition.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And then if you already have planning kind of completed and have a schematic, we could do that. If it's going to be pretty intensive, you might want to talk to your public works director to identify if it would be a simple build where it's going to be an A-frame or, you know, the structure is already prepared for it. But if you have to pull in engineering and everybody else, you might want to consider, you may need to apply for planning and design as well.
Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions? Louise, no questions? I can't wait to see all of the applications from you. So these are going to be the similar steps. The only difference in all of the applications is going to be that new construction and code compliance renovations and renovations code compliance new addition require one other document, those schematics. Otherwise, everything is the same. You have to download and complete your question set. If you're applying for 5 different senior centers, then you have to complete that question set 5 different times for those 5 specific senior centers. If you're going to have your ICIP and it's in general, you can just go ahead and copy, rename it to Senior Center 2, so forth and so on. Make sure that you're taking the time to get those budgets and quotes. I'm also strongly recommending that you're adding an additional 20% to your total. We are seeing huge shifts because of trade and supply and demand, that the estimates that you're giving us are not going to be the same estimates that you're going to need. So we used to be 10%. We were having you guys add 10%. At this point, I'm asking that you add 20%. And you can make sure and let us know the difference, and I'll make sure that our scorers know the difference. Now, if you've added 100%, we're going to question why you're asking for that same amount. So make sure that the amount that you're requesting is going to fall in line pretty close to those quotes and estimates that you're giving us. We need to know where this is coming from. That's why we're trying to make sure that you have enough time so you can reach out to those contractors, those providers to give you those quotes so you're going to get as accurate as an amount as you can. And again, we do understand that those prices have shifted and will shift until you get that funding source. So please make sure that you're padding it by 20%. If there's no questions, that's the extent of the training. I think we've simplified it. I think it's going to be much easier for you guys to, you don't have to pick your senior center and the county. And if it's not there, then how do you get a hold of us? Hopefully this will be a lot easier and more seamless for you to use as you apply for your 2027 capital outlay. If there's no questions, I will give you 19 minutes back of your day. And I appreciate everyone joining. If you do have questions and you don't want to reach out here, you can always email me directly. I will put my email in the chat. It's going to be tasha.martinez@altsd.nm.gov. I'm so sorry that I didn't see that you were not hearing anything. So hopefully you were able to add that information, or you were able to hear that information. If not, once I download this video, I can make sure to send it to you. And Louise, you should not be driving and attending trainings. Be careful. If there isn't anything further, I appreciate everyone's time, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing everyone's applications. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. All right. Thank you, everyone.